we'll continue taking you to our reporters around the various provinces as we continue our coverage of this ongoing violence and, more importantly, finding out what's happening on the ground. Well, instigators of this violence have been warned. The police minister, Cele, saying 12 of them are in fact known. He's vowed that action will be taken against them. This looting and violence in parts of Gauteng and KZN sadly claiming 72 lives, and in some areas it's still ongoing. So how politically does the government and the ANC handle this? Well, political analyst Professor Sethulego Matebesi joining us now. Prof, good morning to you. It's always such a pleasure speaking to you. When we understand that the police minister is aware of 12 people and they say they're going to take action against them, what does that mean in your mind? Is this where the SAPS and the police minister should be focusing his efforts right now?
Good morning, Edwards, and good morning to all the eNCA viewers. I will call that, and I will also try to combine that with what has been going through my mind to say it is actually the swinging pendulum between taking the right action at the right time and just taking a backseat and coming up with such pronouncement. I really don't understand what message our security forces trying to send to the South African citizens when they make this announcement. But I think there is also an expectation that the South African public needs to understand what's going on. But in a crisis situation, pronouncements such as these will not help the situation. We want action. We want to seize. I think South Africans want to hear that the 12 people are behind bars and not that action will be taken because they are somewhere out there still instigating this violence if whatever the security forces or the minister is saying it's true, because sometimes there's always backpedaling also when such pronouncements have been made.
Do you think it's going to be a difficult situation for the police minister and authorities, Prof, considering that the 12 people that he says are known to them, some of those are politicians or associated with political parties to a certain degree or another? Politically, how tricky is this going to be for him to act on what he is threatening to do?
No, I don't think it's going to be very difficult. The police or the minister have already shown with the incarceration of the former president that as difficult as it may be, at the end of the day, they would have to act on if they've got credible information about these 12 suspects. Well, I would have been very surprised if there was no political elements involved in this. We've seen even with service delivery protests, some of the core leaders of these protests are members of the African National Congress, taking arms and leading people up to the streets against their own government. So these things have been happening, and it's all about the political game that is being played within the African National Congress, or a fight for the soul of the leading party. But one should also not ignore the other social, ills and all that. But at the end of the day, this is really worrying if you've got people whom we believe at least have some better insight as to how this country has been struggling in enhancing its own economy, some of the political and social struggles that we still face in this democratic dispensation. But they are now the ones who are deliberately destroying the social fabric and the economy of this country.
I'm going to say goodbye to you for the moment. I appreciate your time in speaking to us. It's always a pleasure, Prof, when you join us here on eNCA as well. It's Professor Sethulego Matebesi joining us here on eNCA.
Yeah, it's quite an important conversation, I think, to have at this stage, and also just to measure the capacity of the police, but also how overwhelmed they are. And we'll be sure to give you more updates on what's happening in the country on the ground at this point. But